Hey everybody, this is Dan from Motivators, and I thought I would bring this message to you in this format because it involves some explanation that is best done with some visuals. So I thought this would be the easiest means of conveying that information. So let me start with that. You know, we are constantly evaluating our program and seeing how we can make it better. If you've ever looked at our core values at Motivators, one of them is called Kaizen. It's continuous improvement. So, it's not just a words on a piece of paper, but we really live it and embody it. So we kind of looked at our programming and sought to make it better. And this is what we came up with. So a little bit of backdrop of information. Two definitions. The first is progressive overload. Okay, this is the gradual increase of stress placed upon the body during exercise and training. A little typo there. It basically means that you make things harder, okay, over time. The second definition is periodization, and it's the organization of training into blocks or units of time that focus on a specific skill. So one of the things that we've observed as a challenge, kind of an issue that we wanted to address in strength class, was that it lacked the periodization that would get you guys better results. And oftentimes, when we're doing the familiar movements, be it squats, front squats, back squats, deadlifts, bent over rows, bench press, overhead barbell presses, it's kind of a guessing game each time. Oh, how much weight do I do? How many reps do we do? And a proper training program really organizes all of that, and that is a periodized program. And fixed also into it is this principle of progressive overload, and that really is the king of all training principles. You can have great consistency, great intensity, perfect exercise selection. You can do all those things, but if you lack progressive overload, the program is not going to be effective. Now, we are, as coaches at Motivators, probably sound like a broken record as far as like go heavier, lift heavier. And it's for a reason, because that, above all else, all other things, is what's going to get you the best results. So this is what we came up with that we think improves our program a great deal. It's a means of implementing periodization and progressive overload into your program. So the step one is testing. Okay, what we need to do over the next week and a half is test different lifts. 3 lifts, really. Your squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. There may be some variation given injuries and limitations. If you can only front squat and you can't back squat, if you need to hex bar deadlift as opposed to conventional deadlift, then that's fine. But either way, we need to test these lifts. And we want to obtain a weight that you can do within 10 repetitions. So maybe you squat 100 pounds for 6 reps. You bench 75 pounds for 4 reps, and you can deadlift 135 pounds for 8 reps. Okay, we need to obtain that information, and that those exercises, they'll be done. That would really test you. I mean, that should be an all-out effort. Those 6, 4, and 8 reps respectively. When we have that, what we can then use is a little calculator that determines your 1 repetition maximum, or your 1 RM. Okay, so for instance, when you can squat 100 pounds for 6 reps, your 1 repetition maximum, if we were to load up the bar, it estimates that you would do about 116 pounds. Now, of course, you could do the purest method of discovering your 1 repetition maximum, but A, it's not that safe, and B, it's kind of difficult to hone in on and takes an enormous amount of time. So calculators like this are very useful, right? The purest method would just be, pack on as much weight until you can find what exactly you can do 1 repetition for. So the bench, your 1 RM would be 82, and your 1 RM for deadlifts at those metrics for testing would yield 168. So what do you do with that information is, well, now we can design an entire program around percentages of your 1RM. Okay? So, for instance, what you're looking at is a sample of how the next 8 weeks of strength 1 and 2 will look. So, after we do your testing, we're going to put your numbers, determine your 1RM, and you'll have something that looks like this that's very specific to you. So, you'll see on the menu, right, for week 1 is squats, and S1 is strength 1, deadlifts on strength 1, as in you'll do those both on strength 1, and bench press on strength 2, right? And it's consistent with the fact that strength 1 is lower body, strength 2 is upper body. The percentage of your 1 repetition maximum. So we arrived at that number by taking 70% of that former 1RM number we had, and we're going to do that for 3 sets of 8. We're going to do deadlifts for 3 sets of 5 at 80% of your 1RM, and on strength 2 upper body day, we're going to do 70% of your 1RM for 3 sets of 8 at 57 pounds. Okay? Hope I didn't lose you. So now we're kind of putting it all together, and week 2 will look slightly different. Week 2 will have, you'll notice we'll do 80% instead of 70%, and we'll do 3 sets of 5. For deadlift, will be 70% as opposed to 80, and then vice versa for bench press. But then on week 3, we'll go back to what we did on week 1, but increase it 5 pounds. So then throughout the 8 weeks, weeks 1, 3, 5, and 7 will be squat at 70%, deadlift at 80%, bench at 70%. And then weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8 will be squats at 80%, deadlift at 70%, bench at 80%. So either way, this is what progressive overload looks like. And this is what periodization looks like. Now this cycle, this training block is going to last 8 weeks. So nothing changes as far as what the strength days look like. You'll still have on strength 1 though, you will do squats and deadlifts for 8 weeks straight. On strength 2, you'll just be doing bench press and then 3 other accessory lifts. You'll have your program up in a little filing cabinet that we have positioned in the front. I put your name on a manila folder up front that I want to have this strength program in there, specific numbers to your lifts, and that way you have something to kind of ascribe to. Now, let me get into that a little more. What are the objectives? Why are we doing this? Well, the first one is to never again ask the question, how much weight do I do? Too often I see where, some of you are very strong and you're coming up to the barbell maybe on days, where you're maybe just feeling better or we're pushing you, and you do, let's say, deadlifts at 135, and then the following, maybe a week later or even 2 weeks later, perhaps you go down 5 pounds or stay the same. And the point is that if you stay the same in your weight, you will stay the same as far as your results and the yield you get from doing that exercise. So we never want to, again, ask the question, how much weight do I do? Especially on those big lifts, the lifts that matter, that impact the most amount of change. With that, you will have a level of commitment and engagement to this process that's much higher. I can promise you that. When you have some objective measurements to measure against, to see how you're doing. What this does, it provides structure and organization to your experience. It kind of ups the ante, and I say that we owe it to you. And we do because over the months and years, you guys have truly impressed us. I mean, we owe it to you in a sense that when you take your training to a high level, if you want more, it's our responsibility to give that to you. And this is a clear way of doing that. This is not mandatory. You don't have to do it, but I highly, highly recommend it. Most of you, dare I say all of you, are experienced enough to have a strength program like this, and this only impacts strength classes, strength 1 and strength 2, not strength and conditioning, not butts and guts or anything like that. we owe it to you to up your ante, to really test you. This is part of the training process to grow and be a little bit outside your comfort zone. Quite frankly, from it, you will get better results. I can promise you that. And, client success principle number 4 we have is commit to results and not activity. This is an important one. And it just harks back to the idea of having metrics, having objective criteria to measure against, as opposed to, oh, I'm feeling strong today. Well, show me that you're feeling strong today. Show me that you are getting stronger, as opposed to I think I'm getting stronger. And you very likely are, but now this is the surest way to show proof to that. Okay? So today is Wednesday, the 10th. This program will start on Monday, the 16th, and last for 8 weeks. We will use the next week and a half to do testing for it. So during strength classes, we'll be, or during assessments, or during open gym time, or during, 5 minutes before or after class, we will want to get your test numbers to record and then produce your program and then make a copy of it for you to then have in your filing cabinet to access at the beginning of each workout. Okay, so as always, I'm available for should you have questions. It's really going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can do. All right, see you out there.